Cool deal.
Okay, and we are on. Hello and welcome to the show, everybody. It's Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman, and today we have Robe Howze. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Ira, thanks for having me on the show, man. I'm excited to be here.
Bro, I'm excited. I have been watching your videos for a couple of years, easy, maybe more like 3. And I always wanted to do something with you. I finally figured out something we could do, and that's this show. And maybe we could collaborate on future stuff. Because for those of you who have never seen, this brother can flow. It's fun. It's not just that you're good at it. I mean, you're really good at what you do with the words, but also you're very good at it with the screen. And I love the whole presentation, brother. Just
Appreciate
amazing,
it, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I'll tell you something soon. We can collaborate on. I heard a nice jam for that music I was just listening to. Man, I was feeling that.
You want to put some words to that, brother?
Yeah, I'm feeling that. Marketing Mondays, man.
Come on. You know what? So you could see me bobbing my head, and I can't dance. Let's just face it. Everybody knows that. But I was watching you, and I was like, "Yeah, I know he's got something cooking in there." I see it, and you muted your mic, and I was like, "Dang it! I want to actually hear. I want to hear what he was doing." But brother, so good to have you. So let's do this. For those of you who don't know Rob, first of all, I'm going to get his link to LinkedIn so we could get that corrected like right away. You know what I mean? There's no reason for y'all not to be connected to my friend. You are not going to find a more positive, more fun, active, engaging, stimulate your brain visually and with thought. So
that's
what I just,
man.
I'm
glad that's me, dude. I'm glad that is me.
I'm trying to make you turn another shade, brother. I'm trying to make you blush. So
love it, man.
All right. So tell everybody, Rob, just, I don't know. It's not hard and fast rule, but a couple minutes, 3 minutes, if you want to kind of like tell people about you and your backstory and,
Yeah, man. So to make it concise, but still impactful and relevant, I've been a business owner, entrepreneur. I've been in business development for 20 years, business development, marketing, public relations, production. I ran a couple of nonprofits. I started a nonprofit with my wife about 15 years ago, helping kids and building programs, after school programs, summer camps. And so over the last, so a bunch of different utilities.
Uh-oh. Is that just me? All right. He froze.
How am I now? Am I back?
We got you. I was about to make a joke about ice cream. If you like ice cream, because it's frozen. But anyway, go ahead.
But I want to make my spirit strong, and so I did that, and I studied neuroscience and psychology for a decade, but most importantly, man, I'm a social scientist, so I studied
Yeah.
the self. I've been studying myself since I can even remember that I was doing that. And so now you come to this platform, and we're talking about LinkedIn. Over the last 3 years, I've just been meeting people,
Yep.
like-minded. Not saying we all think the same, but we all have open minds to do something better for the world.
And some
And so,
positivity, right?
yeah, man, and you need those kind of folks. And so, what I found some geniuses. Ira, like yourself. You're like my partner Wilton. Like I on LinkedIn, I would never have seen, would never have crossed paths. This guy's in New Mexico. I would never have met him.
Right.
But LinkedIn allowed us to cross paths. And so, I've always been, into technology, always, my whole life as well. On LinkedIn, I call myself a humologist, which is humology, which is
Humor.
humans in technology. And
I
how
thought it was humor. Oh my
well,
goodness.
it's funny because it can be, and I think that it does break. It's like one of those words that spell the same, but they have two different meanings. Yeah,
So,
and
because
so
every time I watch something of yours, it does make me think. And I challenge any of you, if you haven't seen any of Rob's work, like check it out. It makes you think, but it's always presented, like I said, it's visually stimulating, but it's presented in ways that I can't help but smile, bro. You never, ever disappoint. Every time I hit the play button, I never walk away from like, man, that's a minute of my life I can't get back. I'm like, actually, I'm always like, I want more.
that's good.
You are addictive, brother. So anyways,
That's
okay.
good
So
stuff,
I thought
man.
it was, I'm just full disclosure. I thought the humology was for humor, not for
I appreciate that, man. That's inspiring. And you're right. That humor, you call it entertainment, edutainment. If you connect education and entertainment, you can make a much stronger impact. People
100%.
like that. They like to smile and feel good. But so you fast forward about last 30 seconds. And so last 3 years, I've been working with Wilton with this company, and we've really been helping other companies learn about technology. So as a humologist, understanding technology and how to use it, humans and technology, how we interact. That's as far back as two rocks making fire, or using your cell phone to track the metrics on your steps, or automating processes in the business so you can cut back on errors and heighten efficiency. Like, however you slice or dice it, understanding the technology you have access to is a game changer.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all the programs and the apps, and
oh man,
a lot for people to try to keep up with everything.
Fire hose at the fire hose at the fire hose.
Yeah.
And so I would say the most important thing for us is not trying to sell people technology, because the worst thing you can do is put the wrong technology in your business, but educating people, like opening a platform, opening it up to where you can learn more about what works for you and what won't. But you won't know anything if you don't start to do some and get some insights.
There's no doubt about it. And if you're not looking for ways to incorporate new things, you're probably getting further and further behind. Let's just be honest, right?
Yep.
I got people that I talk to, they still are not even using social media at all. And I'm like, really? How are you even still in business?
Right.
A year of being locked at home, everybody's like trapped inside, and you're not being social. I don't know how your business is still open, but anyways, we can talk more later.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, okay, we can actually put this in the humanology. People are like, well, social media is all fake, and it's blah blah blah. I'm like, well, maybe it could be. There are certainly people out there who I think are probably less than genuine, 100%. But then there's people like you and I, and if anybody, I challenge anybody to just hang out with you, watch your posts, engage with you at all. There is not an iota of insincerity in your anything, right? Like I will champion you in front of anybody for any reason. And I'd like to think the same about myself. Like, I know I'm not trying to pretend like I'm not, let's see, I'm not Gary V. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm not trying to be any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a nerd with buck teeth, no hair. As you can see, like, you probably don't come on many shows where you have more hair than the host, but here it is today. You got that title, most hair on your head. But you know what I mean? So for me, like you mentioned, you and your wife, you're doing philanthropy work, and about Project Help You Grow, like most people do, right? That was my heart too. Like, I've never made a penny from Project Help You Grow, and I never will. And a lot of people are like, why? Why would you put in all that effort? Why would you do that? I'm like, well, Have you ever gone to like a soup kitchen and served?
Mm.
It's the same idea. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a different vehicle. And
Yep.
because the technology, to tie it all together, the technology, the WordPress, all that stuff, it didn't intimidate me. I didn't let it stop me. There were things I didn't know, plugins I didn't know, but guess what? I got help.
Yeah.
Just like you're saying, you're providing help. So for
Big.
those of you
Big.
who don't know, you weren't raised in 2010. You were raised in 1970 something, right? Like the song says. You can learn, and you can also bring people in on your team, like Rob.
Yes.
Who can help you, and then you don't have to stop what you're expert at. You can enhance what you're an expert at and deliver it in new ways
man,
to more people.
better run that back. Rewind that. Yes. Enhance.
So your business page, and we're going to share this in detail. I'm going to drive it, but you're going to tell me where to go and stuff. Scale through and automation. We're going to get into that in a minute, but you're part of another project on LinkedIn that I want to just kind of like open this gate up for people and unpack what you're doing and what you're involved with, so they have ideas of what questions they can ask. And by the way, isn't that true? No doubt about it. How are you not business? How are you still open?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm finding actually, Kelly, the smaller the company is, the easier it was for them to pivot. Actually, the more growth that they've experienced in the last 12 months. It's almost like there was two size companies that really took advantage of the new paradigm in the fact that we were, all remote. The really large companies like Amazon, who got all the delivery, you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Right? They were allowed to stay open and operate and thrive through it. And then the smaller companies like me, where, I'm a one-man band. I actually have an intern now, but you know what I mean? For the most part, I'm a one-man business, and I was able to change on the fly. But the people in that, like 100-person business to let's say 1,000 employees, they've been around for 20 years, 30 years, and they've been wildly successful building their business up into multi-million-dollar a year, maybe even pushing $1 billion in revenue. And they're like, okay, well, this is how we do it. This is our model, and we don't promote ourselves on LinkedIn, and we don't want our employees to talk about, what they're doing after hours, because we want to keep it like a certain professional that they're used to in the past. It's like the old, I hate to say this, but the old guard wearing suits and ties to business meetings in the summer in Cincinnati when I lived there. And I was like, how the hell y'all do that? It's 90 degrees and 90% humidity. And I'm supposed to show up to this meeting in a full-on suit and tie, and I can't get from my car to your door without sweating like I just took a shower. So I stopped doing that, and everybody was like, well, you're going to piss people off. I'm like, yeah, but at least I will, when I present, I'm going to be comfortable, and they're going to get the right information. You know what I mean?
There we go.
But anyway, but that's the kind of things that change, the paradigm shifts that we're talking about. So anyways, very cool point. But what I'm going to talk about right now, unpack for you, is you have got a podcast, which I love podcasts. We're doing a digital version of this, or a video version of this right now. But it's called Business Empowerment Podcast. It says insights on business, technology, and leadership. And brother, I can't think of anybody better to do that show than you. So go ahead and give us a little bit more about it, and watch this right here, y'all. This is what we want you to do. We want you to hit that follow button.
Hit that follow.
Hit it.
Hit that follow. That's it, man. Yeah, that's it too. Like, insights on technology, business and leadership, and the thought leaders leading the way, the people on LinkedIn, people that I know, people that they know. Everybody has some information, and we are now in a situation to where, if you get yourself in front of the right information, the right time, you can do some really amazing things. And unfortunately, there's a dog barking, and unfortunately,
people... No, but that's okay. That's one of the things that's changed over the last year. Like, okay, so many of you know, many of you don't. I have 8 children. Okay, I don't have a dog because I have 8 kids. Did you hear that? 6 of them still living at home. 2 of them are in college now, right? So at any moment in time, I have a little redheaded 6-year-old who could walk through this door and say, "Daddy, I love you," and give me a hug. And guess what? There's not a meeting in the planet that I'll be in virtually that I won't let that happen, because it's a different world now. Like a year ago, I would go out there. I'm just going to be completely transparent with everybody, and I would lay down the law. And Daddy's about to be on a video conference. They don't know I'm working from home, and you are not going to ruin this for me. Shut your mouth, right? That's what I would say. Now it's like, hey, guys, can you keep it down? I'm about to be live.
Right.
You know what I mean? What a different world. But so the expectations change. This is what I'm talking about with like the evolution of, where we were to where we are. The paradigm. I like to use the word paradigm, right?
Yeah, I love paradigm.
The paradigm has shifted 100%. So your dog can bark all they want, and
who let the dogs out? You.
Come on.
So that's what we're doing, man. With this podcast, we're just basically inspiring people any way we can.
Right. We got him to bark, baby. That's good.
So, and what we decided so Wilton and I, my partner with Scale Through Automation, we were thinking about in regards to our marketing efforts and how can we reach people and how can we make the greatest impact. And again, we have a service that can help any business because every business that has processes needs it. But we don't want to sell to any person, but we do want to inspire and educate all. Yeah. And if you inspire and educate, then folks will get enlightened. They'll be able to comprehend, understand why, and they need your services or at least more insight from you. So this podcast serves as an opportunity to not only meet more people, but also help more people because we have so many great guests. We've had it's a bunch of people on there. Just every person you could think of that's great on LinkedIn, we're probably going to have them because this is the platform where you meet those people and this is what they do.
Yeah.
And so
I'm ready for my invite. I will be there. Yeah. I will sing your praises and we'll help promote it. I love this picture. I wish I could show it bigger, but if you guys look at the graphic quality of this picture, you'll see what I'm talking about with Rob's videos. When you watch his videos, he does phenomenal. I want to call it like ahead of the curve graphics, because I've seen a lot of people probably ripping you off just in front.
Oh, that's great.
You know what I mean? But like stuff that I saw you do it 3 years ago, I see people doing now. And it's like,
oh my goodness.
You know what I mean?
I actually love that, man. I used to didn't. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I love it now.
I get it. And I feel the same way. Like when I see people copying my stuff or whatever, and it's like, well, I don't know how I feel about that. But then I remembered, like, imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Ooh.
Okay, so if you're copying me, that means you do respect me, because you wouldn't be stealing my stuff if if I wasn't doing something right. And honestly, I don't come up with every idea either. I see people doing stuff and I'm like, that's cool. For example, just in full disclosure, okay, so I'm on I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. I'm on StreamYard broadcasting, right? And so this idea, let me even take that away just so people can see it. So, okay, so that's like the StreamYard default background, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing right here that has like the show name and right?
Yep.
I created this, right? But I didn't come up with that idea. Like, oh, you know what I need? I need something at the top and the bottom. You know where I learned that from? The guy that I was showing you before. I was teasing Russ Johns. What's up, Russ? If you haven't seen Joe Stepke's post today, oh my goodness, you got to see it, because he made a video he found a video of somebody who looks like Russ Johns dancing, and I tagged Russ in it, and I said, I didn't know you could.
It's amazing.
But anyway, check that out. That's Joe Stepke, but he has his pirate broadcast, right? I don't know if you've been on that, but I've been on that. I have. So I didn't know about that show until he invited me on it. But when he invited me on it, I watched a few of them. I'm like, wow, that's really cool, the way he set that up. And that's where I got the idea. Now, I've made a bunch of them in the last several years, but it wasn't an Ira idea. It was just something like, I want to incorporate that, because so you'll see stuff like that and you're not necessarily ripping them off, but it's like you get inspired. That's where the inspiration comes from.
I think that's how we build, man. I think that's how we build it and make the world a better place. We can build upon our colleagues and our peers and our neighbors. If we can find a way to collaborate and work together as well. Wow, what a world that could be.
Right. And isn't that what we're all aiming to be? Well, certainly the people that I hang out with and the people that I invite on my show have that mindset. That's why I invited you. Now, let's do this. You talked about your partner Wilson a few times. Let's get into what the project that y'all are working on, which is your business page here, Scale Through Automation. Now, again, I'm going to take this link and I'm going to put it case you guys haven't figured this out, I put Rob's LinkedIn profile in the chat. I put the podcast in the chat. And right now I'm going to be putting this page in the chat. Why am I doing that, y'all? What is the point? Well, here's what I want. I want you to like engage here. I want you to go to every one of those. First of all, send Rob a connection request or follow him if you haven't already. Then I want you to go to his podcast. I want you to follow, subscribe to that sucker. And then I want you to come here and I want you to just check it out. Now, what's the advantage of doing it right now while we're live? You can ask him a question, and guess what we'll do? We'll stop the show and we'll answer the question on the spot. That's what we want you to do. What is this show about? It's Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman. And today we've got guest Rob with us. We want to pick his brain. You got a marketing question? You want to ask, how does he come up with his raps? How does he create his amazing imagery? How does he help people automate? Right? Maybe you're in a business that's been around for, your third generation or fourth generation. And you've been doing stuff the same way for decades. How do you update it? You can ask Rob that question. And maybe he can't answer it on the show without getting more detail from you, but you guys could set up like a consultation. You got Ira and Rob undistracted, motivated to help you. How can we help you today? That's what this is all about.
That's it.
So tell us, brother, about this website. If you want me to click anything or go anywhere specific, I will do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep scrolling and showing people what's up.
Yeah, man. This scale through automation. That's what we do. And if you think about those words, scale, that means you're gonna go higher and higher and increase, and through automation. And that's this really simple way of looking at it. And if you automate your processes the right way, that is inevitable. And so to really make this simplistic, you think about, I just today I posted a testimony, a beautiful testimony from a client. He has a law practice, just 3 employees. But he reached out to us from LinkedIn.
There you go.
He saw us on LinkedIn. He said, wow. But he didn't think that we could help him because he knew that we work with enterprise. He knew we worked with bigger clients.
He thought he was too small.
Thought he was too small.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about what we do. Nobody's too small. As a matter of fact, we prefer mom and pops, to tell you the truth.
Come on, that's all I work with.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
If I can do it, mom and pops, that's my heart, because I know that's the heartbeat. I know what it takes because I'm mom and pops, okay?
Right. You've done it 100%. Yeah.
So, this law firm, we literally saved them 1,000+ hours a year. I mean, we cut back 70% of what they were doing.
Think about that for a second. 1,000 hours a year, 40 hours a week times, you know what I mean? That's a lot of time. A lot. And that time was people who were actually doing something, like having to put something in, data, or move something. That was time. So now they got their time back. Yeah.
And they can now focus on something of more value, of more importance. And that stuff can get done, and it can get done even more efficiently because now there's no errors. So everybody, again, is winning. So you think about it on that small scale. And then we have enterprise clients where they have lots of processes, they have old systems, and they have to somehow get a lot of things done. And so anytime you have to get a lot of things done, most of it, a big portion of it is redundant. So we just find ways, we go in and dissect it, do a discovery call, and design a plan from end to end of what could be automated. And then you see the ROI because you understand based off the analysis. Very, very clear. Very, very clear. And so it was important for us to work with clients and have testimonies, because in the beginning, saying RPA was like a foreign language.
Yeah. Acronyms can be deadly.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know about how long this video is right here? Is this a short one? Let's see real quick. Yeah. If you want, we'll play this.
Hey everyone, this is John Gransrich. I'm the VP of Product Strategy here at Help Systems, and I want to talk to you today about a topic that's been getting a lot of attention, which is robotic process automation,
RPA,
or RPA. According to Gartner, RPA is now the fastest growing segment in the enterprise software space. I want to tell you just a little bit about it. So if you haven't been thinking about it, you at least start to think about it. And if you've kind of had it on your radar, but you're not really sure where to go with it, I'll give you a couple of ideas for how to get started. So let's start with the basics. What is RPA? Well, at its simplest, RPA is software that automates human tasks. Now, what kind of tasks am I talking about? Well, when you think about the kind of work that we all do every day, right? There are certain tasks that, frankly, they're kind of routine, maybe even mundane. We do them over and over. It's probably not what we want to be doing all day long. And it's surely not something that our companies want us to be doing, right? And so if you're thinking about where RPA can help, there are actually 4 characteristics for a good RPA project. So number one, you're looking for tasks that are repetitive, right? So you're doing them
Makes sense.
over and over,
Mhm.
you're doing them over and over. You're looking for things that are rule-based, right? So any task that has a concrete set of rules, kind of a 1 through X, if you will, that we can put into a process, that's also a great candidate for RPA. Third characteristic is high volume, right? So some of you work in organizations where you have high volumes of these tasks happening day in, day out. It could be on the order of hundreds or even thousands of tasks. So you can certainly use RPA for that, and prone to human error. We all know that the more manual a task is, the more prone it is to human error. So repetitive, rule-based, high volume, and prone to human error. If you find tasks in your organization that fit into those 4 checkboxes, odds are you've got a great candidate for RPA. You might be wondering, well, is this even really a big problem? And if so, why should I even bother solving it? Well, research tells us that about 90% of employees today report productivity challenges that come from these kinds of routine and repetitive tasks.
Big.
That 90% of people who are affected by that, all that waste, if you will,
Right.
really impacts companies to the tune of close to 1.8 trillion.
Come on, there it is right there.
Dollars each year just in the U.S.
Hang on. Hang on. We got to stop the president.
That's it. Whoa.
That $1.8 trillion. Why RPA? It is right there in black and white, guys. If you didn't see that, now I don't know if you know, Rob, but I was putting in the chats the 4 reasons, so we could talk about this again. Repetitive, something that your employees are doing all the time, right? Rule based, a little bit more tricky for people to understand, but if this, then that kind of
Yep.
right? High volume, something you're just doing frequently. Look, I was just doing an interview with Corey Haber and Rachel Beck. I don't know if you know who they are, right?
Yes, I do. I'm going to do Rachel this week.
Come on, she's amazing. She's one of my favorites. I mean, absolute favorites. I would do anything for Rachel and Corey too, honestly, who Rachel introduced me to. So I was talking to Corey and Rachel, but we was talking specifically to Corey. She was asking us about, she's doing a course where it's continuing education. Okay. So she's got continuing education course that she teaches. It's going to be by video. And what she's been asked to do by this agency is to independently verify that the people are at least watching, you know what I mean? Like they click on the link and actually go to watch it. She doesn't have to verify that they watch the whole thing, but she does have to verify that they watch it. And so we were talking about ideas on how you could do that. And she's like, well, maybe I'll just schedule time and sit there with them and watch them. And I'm like, yeah, but how many people are going to be doing this course? You don't have, like, if it's an hour long,
right.
You can't sit there for an hour times, let's say 50 per week. That's not that's the high volume that we're talking. You know what I mean? Like, imagine paying an employee to sit there and join that person as they watch a video, which kind of defeats the purpose of having it on video, honestly. You know, but this is automation. This is the RPA that you guys are talking about. So now that you guys have an understanding, I've put it out there to the audience, and we've got people watching again on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Have you all heard of RPA yet? Do you have any experience with it? More importantly, because maybe you don't embarrass yourself, and to be fully transparent, I didn't hear of RPA before just now. So you're not the only one. If you're thinking you are, you're not, because I'll readily admit where I don't know something. So this RPA thing is new to me. If you have a question for Rob about it, please ask it. But in the meantime, I'm going to let Rob just continue on because
man,
I saw that video and I thought that would be cool to.
That's awesome call to pull that video up. Yeah, because getting that explanation really breaks it down. And I'm glad you brought that up because on our website, if you go to community, let's see where we at here.
So I'm in company right now.
Let's see. Go to
community.
Yeah. By the way, this is 2 days old.
Okay. So that makes sense that you know.
I'm like, okay. I'm looking like, okay, this is.
But I really like the way this website looks.
Oh my goodness, man! It's so much.
It's user friendly.
Yeah. Oh
we
my
have
goodness.
another video we can watch if you want.
The other one was good. The other one was good, but this is like light years ahead here. Okay, if you scroll all the way to the top.
Okay.
All right, so this is our business empowerment community. And so the goal is we have all of our podcast guests there in our community. People can ask questions of our guests. Also in that community, we give access to RPA, let's call it RPA college for any industry.
Okay.
So let's say you're in accounting, you're manufacturing, and law, whatever it is, you can go in there. It's free. It's like you go to Udemy or you go to Teachable, one of those teaching platforms.
My favorite price on the planet is free.
Oh yeah, me too, man. Me too. And segment it free. Like it's okay if people say, okay, it's free, come get what you want. Like smorgasbords give me anxiety sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's gotta have value. Yeah.
Tell me exactly what I need to do. And so you come into the community, it's free, and you have segmented industries. You can go deep, you got use cases. And so you click on that and you'll be in there. That's basically it, man. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's a huge that's probably the best thing for folks to do because they can learn quickly. Just now, if you had no idea what RPA was, if you had zero understanding about RPA and you saw that video, you now have at least 50%.
Yeah. Well, and you can see the impact. So it's worth. So what I loved about that video, and that's the first time I watched it, I had no idea what was going to happen on that video, but what was cool about it is it explained it. It gave you some clear understanding of how it can help companies. And then to me, that 1.8 trillion is like, ooh, so this isn't something, we're not talking about something that's, going to make a minor tweak. This could be a huge, and you had already teased it with the law firm. Again, just to reiterate, in case people missed it, you're talking about a law firm with 3 employees. And you were able to shave off 1,000 hours in a year for a 3 employee side, a company with 3 employees. Maybe there's 4 or 5 because there's some admin stuff probably too, right? But anyways, 3 attorneys and some admins. Let's say even if it's 10 people total, you save 1,000 hours. What could they do? Oh, 3,000. I'm sorry. I'm
sorry. No, 3 people. It's crazy.
Oh, 3 total people. Okay, so it's just 3 total people. Yep. So you got 3 total people. And you shaved 1,000 hours. Now, what can they do? This is an opportunity cost. They don't have to pay for that stuff that they were paying them to do. Now they've got time to do something else.
Oh my goodness.
So what are you going to do with that extra time? And how much further is your business going to be because you hit the RPA?
That's it.
Come on.
That's it. Now you said it. I want people to think about our automation like habits. I did this talk. It actually comes out in February summit, and I said it's so funny. I said I did this talk. It comes out in February. We're in a digital world. So
no, there's no doubt. I've got a. It's a interview with Derek Mildred. He interviewed me, which I'm usually the one interviewing, right? But he interviewed me. He did it back in November. We did the interview in November. It's going to air in February. And it's like he keeps teasing me a little bit with like, okay, we got this, we got this thing going, and I'm like, I just want to see it already. But it is what it is. It takes people time. I think with he's doing like 20 of them or something, and he's gonna release them like over a weekend. He's gonna do like
that's good
amount each day, and it's gonna be like a big event. We're actually raising money for charity. So that's why everybody volunteered their time, and then the money that the proceeds that are raised are going to be split up into these organizations, and everybody got to pick what organization they wanted to donate to. So I'm donating. I'm having my portion go to vetstoindustry.com, which helps former military, the people that are transitioning out of the military, the vets, into the private sector. So they're not funded by any. They don't have like rich donors or whatever. You know what I mean? So they could use the money. So I said, let me donate mine. And I'm like, that was a cool project.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So let's do this. I think automation scares people a little bit. Honestly, they're intimidated by it. They don't know what it is. So can we do this? Let's talk about maybe a couple different examples. You talked about law firms, so we'll set that aside for the second. But let's talk about, maybe, I don't know.
I got
a couple examples. You know what I mean? Like a small, a medium, and a large. And like, okay, what does that mean, or what could it mean?
Okay.
Like maybe you've got a restaurant or you've got, I don't know. I mean, it could be anything, but
yeah. So to make it even more simplistic, so in particular, there's a young lady who her activity daily is to put data from one place to another.
just transcribing it.
Just taking it, yep.
Yeah.
One place to another. And sometimes she has to, during that process, she has to move it one application to another place. So she's moving data and moving applications. Moving data.
Adrian's asking about services company. And I think that's probably what I was trying to get at too, Adrian, because I don't know about, I mean, everybody seems to have their verticals and their sizes where they specialize. And for me, I do work with lawyers. I work with accountants. I work with business coaches. And, you know, most of the people, like even plumbers and stuff, I work mostly with people that don't manufacture or have like e-commerce. And I don't usually work with like really large companies because honestly, they have a marketing team of like 10 people already. They don't need me. So like usually I'm working with the mom and pops and maybe they just bootstrapped or, you know, they've got 10 employees or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's typically who I deal with. But I know a lot of people I'm connected to on LinkedIn also fit that space. They're like, you know, they are smaller and they are interested in automation, but all they think about with automation usually is the part of automation that kind of drives me nuts, to be honest. That's the reach outs with the emails and with the requests, and you know what I mean. And you got to be really careful with that stuff. Not that it can't be done well, but that's what they think of. So I want them to see it in the much bigger, because that's a very small part of automation. So much more to it. We got some more ice cream. Rob and I like ice cream. Well, at least I can speak for myself while he's frozen. I love ice cream. Now he's back. All right. What's your favorite type of ice cream, Rob?
Probably vanilla chocolate.
Oh, the swirl.
Swirl.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right. My favorite is chocolate chip mint. If you give me chocolate, I'll pretty much, you could pay me just an ice cream, and
that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's good.
So we're back to automation, but you know, because there's more to it, obviously, than just spam.
Absolutely. So think of it this way: one of the things we have is called a discovery bot, and what the discovery bot is, it goes and you put this onto whatever laptop, whatever the work is being done, and it basically does machine learning, and it begins to see what's being done, and it remembers what's being done, and of course, since things that are being done on a regular basis, it gets recorded. And based off that recording, that's how we begin to draw the diagram that shows where the repetitive actions are being taken. And so that's a really easy way for folks to get an understanding, really low level. Don't not go too high because it can get complex, but it doesn't have to be for you to understand how it works. How it works is whatever you're doing, we discover what that is, find out those redundancies, and then automate it.
So for example, if I'm in QuickBooks and I'm doing my invoice stuff, and then I'm going into a spreadsheet separate, and I'm taking that data and moving it over. If it notices I do that every time, which I do, maybe I need an RPA there, Rob. Right? So I do this every day because, you know, I'm the business owner, so I'm doing my invoices and I'm doing, you know, the design work. And there's another thing, like maybe I'm constantly going in, which I do, just again in full transparency. So usually when I make a file in Photoshop or Illustrator, I'm making it and I save it like 3 different ways. You know what I mean? And then I typically will create a folder and I'll store the whole project in a place. You know, I'm sure there's some of that stuff that could easily be automated. And I never even thought about it until right now. And now I feel like, damn, why didn't I talk to Rob sooner?
Anyway. You know, check this stat out. Well, you know, RPA, robotic process automation, really just business automation, been around for years, right? Been around for years, but only enterprise, like enterprise, big companies, because you typically need an engineer, $180,000 a year, bare minimum, to get it rock and rolling. Well, just recently, in the last 5 years, it's become available to the mid-market. Now, watch this stat. Gartner says that by 2027, 50% of organizations will have some type of RPA implementation. Right now,
so 50% mid-sized companies will have some type of RPA in the next how many years?
2027. But what is that?
That's 5 more years.
5 more years.
Wow.
So 50%. Now, right now, less than 2% of the small, medium-sized business market even are taking advantage of it. They don't even know it exists. Like 2% right now, less. So that's showing you, okay, and also RPA is the fastest growing software in the technology industry. So it's the fastest growing thing out there. So it's like
what you're saying is people would be smart to come work for you because there's opportunities.
People will be very smart to educate themselves on how they can utilize and optimize what I'm saying, whether it's collaborate as a partner, utilize it for your business, you just come into the business department community and get educated, because now is the time. Trends are big, ladies and gentlemen. If you knew about Google before Google got off,
Right.
you would get into Google if you knew Google was going to be Google. Okay, RPA is the fastest growing and the biggest, most impactful software in the technology industry, and it's at its infancy. So now is the time to get educated. And the thing about it also, 2020 has literally automation was a luxury before. Like doing it, 2020 has made it a necessity. Like you have to find ways to optimize what you're doing, to do what you're doing at the best of your ability, highest efficiency, because your competitors are. And whoever is not, they're just going to fall behind, just like we see in every era, in the agricultural era, the industrial era, all the eras that came and they went. Now we are in the digital transformation era at the beginning.
Yeah, this is amazing. So make sure I summarize this right. By 2027, mid-sized companies are expected to grow from 2% to 50% use of RPA. I think I got it.
Yeah. And so in Gartner's word for word was by 2027, all companies. There was so
it wasn't even just mid-size, it was
right.
Everybody.
Yeah, basically. But the key, the interesting, the funny, the big thing about that is only 2% of the SMB market is using it. So it's like, wow. We're
if you guys aren't familiar with Gartner, what they do is they pretty much study every industry. They put out these reports, and they're not paid by any one company. Like, I come from the print background, right? So we used to always get these Gartner reports, and what they would do is they would tell us all kinds of stuff about the print industry or printers or whatever, and it was independent data so that you could trust it. So it wasn't like, oh, Xerox paid for something or HP paid for something, and it's like going to make them look good. You know what I mean? So if you're not familiar with Gartner, you can check them out. They have a website.
Yeah, big.
Yeah, they're big. It's a big deal for sure. Shell is saying connect with me. Well, Shell, this is easy. So I put Rob's information in the chat. Just go ahead and find him. In fact, I'll do it again. I got him right here.
Yeah, Shella. Thank you.
He's doing a show right now, but you can connect with him right here, and I recommend it. He is the. I don't know if you guys have figured this out, but I vet all my. Nobody comes on this show that I don't know. Let me just say it that way. Like when I bring them on, I'm not just bringing them on because they know what they're talking about. I'm bringing them on because I think you should connect with them. So here, Chella, here he is, right there. You can connect with him. You can follow his podcast.
Connect.
You can check out his business, which the website, it's called Scale Through Automation. It's scalethroughautomation.com. It's really, really complicated. If you haven't seen it yet, let's show you. This is what we got on the page right now. This is the website. We're talking about business automation, which just to kind of reset the room, I'll use a Clubhouse phrase, reset where we're at the moment.
Yeah.
We've been talking about business automation, which has been around forever, but to this point, it's pretty much been because of the cost associated with ramping it up. You got to pay an engineer a lot of money. So usually enterprise business, what does that mean? You're talking about the Coca-Colas of the world. You're talking about the Googles of the world. You're talking about, any name brand that you would recognize, that everybody would recognize. That's enterprise, right? Now we're talking about the rest of us, the majority of the businesses out there.
Right.
Now Gartner has said, I had got this wrong in my summary. I'd said mid-size, but you're saying it's all companies. So from the solopreneurs like me, entrepreneurs, the small mom and pops, even the regional companies. Like I just interviewed the director of operations for a convenience store chain called Buc-ee's. His name is Jason Ricks. They run 94 stores in a few different states. That's a mid-sized company in America. But I thought you were talking about companies like them, which makes more sense to me.
Yeah, we do.
Somebody like me can afford it. Partner is saying people like me can afford it, because obviously you have to be able to afford it to be able to do this. And if half of you can, then I'm going to presume that I'm in that conversation. So that's exciting to me, because I've already, just from this show, just from talking to you, I know off the top of my head, there's 2 things that I probably could automate and it would help me out. Now, is it worth the cost? I mean, that's a whole nother deal. We'd have to get your ROI. I'd have to get the assessment from you, but that's why people can talk to you.
Right.
To figure that out. Like, okay, well, you're doing that 10 times a month, Ira. Yeah, we could automate it, but the cost to do that would take too much. Or something that I might think, well, I'm a one-man band, I can't afford to do that. But you're like, Ira, you're spending an hour a day doing that, and I can get this done for you for a certain amount and break out the ROI. And you go like, well, look, I can show you where you can have an hour a day back. And if I'm billing out $100 an hour, which is what I bill out at, right? And it only costs me, let's say, $20 a day. Well, I've got $80 free if I just invest. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it as a business owner. Right? So if you want to have those types of intelligent conversations with your specific business, Rob is here to tell you that he wants to talk to you.
Yes, indeed. The best thing you can do is understand where you are. The best thing to do is understand where you are and where things are going. I mean, that is the understanding. If only a Blockbuster understood. If they only understood, if Blockbuster only understood that when, they were $1 billion company, and Netflix was only a $10 million company, and that Netflix wanted to partner with them, and Netflix was actually going to put all of Blockbuster's movies into a nice digital catalog online. It's going to be fantastic.
Yep.
You know what the Blockbuster guy said? No. We think that people love the in-store experience. And I got to tell you, they were right, because I'm one of the people that used to love going to Blockbuster and getting the popcorn and walking around. I used to love it, looking at the beta, the VHS.
Come on.
I was loving it. But you know what I love more than going to a store? Sitting home on my bed and clicking the button and watching what I want when I want.
Instantly. And I can transfer it from my living room to my bedroom or vice versa. I can put it on my phone. Yeah, and this is a great point. This is where I'm trying to tell everybody. I don't care what size company you are. I don't care what type of industry or what you're doing. If you only look backwards and go, well, this has always worked, you eventually are going to get surpassed by somebody who is looking forward and going, this is where it's headed, because things do change.
Yep.
Right. And the word has been overused for the last year, pivot. So let's call it something else. Course correction, adjustment, right? So you make adjustments based on not only where we are, but where we're headed. And the big guy can be passed by the little guy, like the David and Goliath of the world. It can flip on a dime. And that is a great analogy to Blockbuster Netflix, right? Because 20 years ago, we were going where? We were going to the record store, or we were going to Blockbuster almost every week. You were you were going to one or the other.
Oh, man.
When's the last time you went to a record store, Rob? My kids don't even know what Blockbuster is.
Crazy.
Think about that. Right?
Yeah.
We used to go get our CDs. I won't say cassettes, because I was there. Okay, when I was really young, we used to get cassettes like at the swap meet. I want to really date myself, right? Like Saturday mornings were swap meets, right? But when I started going, when I got into high school and stuff, we were already CDs pretty much, right? So just going through the CDs. But I mean, every week I got a paycheck. Whenever I got a paycheck, I was buying music. 100%. And I was doing that at the mall, right?
Yep.
I didn't go to the mall in 2020, not as a customer. I did go there a couple times as a print vendor because I had a couple mall clients. But for consumer, I haven't been to the mall since 2019. I don't know that I'm ever going back to the mall. I'm just telling you, things are different. And If you're living in like, well, when this stuff's all over, we're going to go back to the way we used to. Yeah, some things maybe, but not everything, and certainly not exactly the same.
Yeah.
There are things that will never change. For example, work from home.
Work from home.
A lot of people said before COVID-19, you cannot do this from home. It's impossible.
Yep.
People will not be productive. We can't communicate effectively. There's no good way to get everybody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that was true based on the technology that we had, but what happened? People adapted.
Yeah,
right? New softwares came out.
Mm-hmm.
People upgraded their internet speeds. We came up with new safety security protocols. All kinds of stuff has changed.
Made it happen.
Now what? You just talked about it. I love going to the store, Ira, to the Blockbuster and get my popcorn, and that experience is great. But you know what I love more? I love being able to do it from my bed at home. Guess what? I used to commute 2.5 hours each way when I lived in San Francisco. Okay. I would drive 55 miles, but it would take me 2.5 hours to get there.
Wow.
Now, guess what? I have a 30-second commute because I sleep upstairs and I work downstairs, and that's only 30 seconds. And it wouldn't take me long if I'm walking down. And frankly, I hardly ever wear shoes anymore. I'm walking around in socks, and I go slow because I don't want to slip and fall. Yeah. Nobody wants to see the fat guy fall on his butt. Well, maybe they do in a video, but anyways, you know what I mean? So I take my time, but it's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Guess what? I have 5 hours every day of my life, Monday through Friday, that I can do. I can read, I can study, I can hang out with my kids, I can watch a movie on Netflix because Blockbuster's gone, in case you guys didn't know that, right? So I have time. I don't want to go back. I don't want to have a commute ever again. And there's going to be plenty of people like me who appreciate that. Now, there are some extroverts who like to hang around the water cooler. So I think there are people who will go back. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the volume that it was before. And then when business owners figure out this is not really happened yet. You want to talk about what's coming?
It's coming. I know what you're going to say.
In real estate, those of you who are thinking about this, you guys are working at office buildings that cost millions and millions and millions of dollars times every single business, right? And then they got to buy all the food, and they got to have all the insurance, and they got to buy all the hardware, and they got to have super fast internet and phone and all the things that you guys don't think about. The security, they can downsize those buildings to the essential workers who actually really have to be there.
Yeah.
And spend a lot less. They're going to be a lot more agile with their, you know what I mean? So even the folks that, they go back after this is over because they were on a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease. Well, guess what? When that's over, they've already proven they can do this remotely.
Yeah.
Proven they can do it remotely, right? So again, now you take that and we move it into software and we talk into automation processes, and it's the same idea, right? Like, for example, the difference between meeting in person and now we're meeting remotely. You have processes that you've been doing manually that can be done, just they're rule-based, I'm assuming. It's automated. Okay, when this happens, now instead of you doing it manually, we're going to do that for you with this behind-the-scenes plugin or whatever. I'm getting a little bit above my pay grade.
No, you're actually you're hitting it, and then there's also, the overseer person still oversees it. They can check in with it, they can monitor it. They get indicated when the process either it stops or it needs extra clearance or whatever. So there's still this communication that happens, but it becomes more fluent. You don't have to do stuff that you don't need to do. Humans should do human stuff and let robots do robot stuff. We call them digital employees.
There you go. Well, and it gives people time to do the things that aren't mundane too.
Yes.
Right. Like, so if I'm designing software and I've already designed this piece that now I just need to replicate 50 times because I've got to put it on 50 things, but it could save me hours. And frankly, that's not the part that I enjoy. The creative process, I'm talking to somebody who's probably more creative than me, which I don't talk to a lot of people with your creativity, right? You're off the charts creative, brother. So,
man.
And I like to think that I am too, right? So for me, that's the fun. The fun is, doing the new thing and coming up with the new style and then all that stuff. That's why I live in Photoshop most of the time. I'm creating something new, and I'm either in Premiere or I'm in another design program, Illustrator, whatever I'm using. I want to create something, but once I've made it, and now I just have to go, okay, well, now I got to make 50 of these things or 100 of these things. That's like, well, I'm not a robot. It's boring.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys could take that, and that's what you're saying, not just for somebody in the design space like me.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. In any space at all.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. Let's shift gears a little bit because we have Shella, who's been engaging, which is cool. She's asking for some digital marketing tips. Now, Shella, if you have a specific question, this will help us address it more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk about like, how to brand yourself or how to set up a profile or, how to get some growth on your business page or whatever you're talking about, or maybe you want to talk about how to discover your audience or whatever it is that you're looking for. But we're going to talk about Rob's story a little bit. Okay. So, and through that, we can highlight some examples. Like, for example, one of the things that you were doing, like I said, 3 years ago that caught my attention was the flow stuff, right? You would put out a video. It was usually like 90 seconds or whatever, give or take. But you were running like cartoon style stuff. Some stuff was black and white. Some stuff was full animation. And what I loved about it was every one of them. It wasn't like you were just, okay, I found something that works and I'm just going to recreate the same thing over and over and over again. Like you weren't copying yourself even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wish I could go back and play some of those for you, but I'm not going to chase them down because I have to go back a little bit. But that was a lot of fun. But again, for everybody, like you weren't a one-hit wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what you did, what I appreciated, and again, I'm a creative guy. I like to think I am anyways.
You're creative. Hey, look
at myself on the back here
right now. Yeah.
But check this out, guys. Like, how did he brand himself? How did he set himself apart? He wasn't just talking about one thing, and he wasn't just presenting it in one way. And even when he was doing the music stuff that he was doing that I love to death, truly love it, they were different too. And I don't listen. I mean, look at me. I'm not necessarily the rap guy. You know what I mean? I'm sure that surprises everybody. You know what I mean? But even so, even in a different genre of music, like my wheelhouse, to be fully transparent, is completely different, right? I grew up in country and in heavy metal. So I'm somewhere between.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I could tell you all about Beastie Boys and LL Cool J and Run DMC and all those because when I was growing up, they were the thing.
Right.
And I grew up in the streets of Vegas, so we had the starter jackets that we used to fight over, and you know what I mean, walking around with a clock on our neck, and I don't know how that ever made sense, but it did.
Right.
Clock, you know what I mean? So, anyways, when I heard those, it took me back some nostalgia, some like again because I do the creative stuff, the visual components that you were doing. It just gave you, in my eyes, it gave you your own, like I looked forward to seeing stuff from Rob. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Talk about digital marketing. I think that's what you're looking for if you can find it. I took a lot of time to set that stage. But here's the advice, Shella. You can talk about anything you need to talk about. But if you can find a way to present it that's uniquely you, that's your calling card.
That's it.
I can say Rob. I know I have Rob Deptford too. So really, when I talk about my Robs, in my mind, I have two creative Robs, and you guys both on camera, but Rob Deptford is as a Canadian. He's like the polar opposite you. He's very chill, very like almost like an introvert. You know what I mean? Canadian, super friendly, all that stuff. You guys both have great smiles and things like that. But his stuff is more technical. He's gonna like teach you how to create a video the technical way. You know what I mean? You and me are more like your onstage talent. I would just say it what it is, right? I think of him more like behind the scenes producing the video, and I think of you more like I want to video that guy. I want to I want to get my drone to do a flyover and you know what I mean? Like that's anyways. Does that make sense? So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, it does, man.
Now, if you're thinking about digital marketing, now I'm gonna let Rob.
I think that was good, man, because you're right. It's like when it comes to marketing, there's so many things we can do, but understanding the why of what you're creating is most important. Like why you are creating what you're creating, and from that perspective, You put yourself into it. So if you're being authentic, it's going to come across that way, and then you're going to automatically attract people to it. That's just the way it works. So the first thing is really understanding the message of how you want people to feel. Like, what is the why? Why are you doing this? That will set the stage, and then of course spend some time in creating the content, being yourself, and then that will create the outcome you're looking for. Because there's so many ways to market. There's so many people to follow, so many great models, but we got to get comfortable with our own flow first, and then we can build out from there.
Well, and we talked about being authentic too, right? So if you're looking to do something as a gimmick, you got to be really, really careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first and foremost, and you said it, I'll just echo it. You have to understand what it is that you're trying to say. You have to understand your communication style, and you have to find something that feels natural. For example, and I'm about to do this, here's a setup, right? What have I done with the glasses? The glasses have in part become my brand, right? When you see Ira, you're going to see him usually in either white glasses, blue glasses, or red glasses. And, I used to change them all the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the glasses originally to be like a gimmick. But it was one of those things because I don't like boring, like I'm in graphics, bro. I'm not going to wear boring stuff. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yep. So, some people are like, oh, where do you get your glasses from and how much you spend? I would, again, completely transparent, father of 8. We don't buy fancy stuff here. These are bifocals I bought for, I think, $50, okay, from a website called Zenny.com or Zenny Optical, I think they go by now. But anyways, I've been using them for, I don't know, a decade, I believe.
Wow.
And I buy my glasses. Mine are bifocals. That's the frames, the lenses, the shipping, that's everything. Right. And yeah, it takes a week for them to show up. Who cares? It's $50. But because of that, when I started buying those, I used to spend $300 or $400 for regular glasses, but that was even before I had bifocals. I would get them faster, but it was expensive. So when I started getting them cheaper, I'm like, you know what? I like to match. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I like to color coordinate.
Yeah.
So today I got my white shirt on, and guess what? I got my white glasses on. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So that's been part of my thing. You could go on video if you get a thing like that. Like my friend Joe does a fedora hat, and that's kind of his thing. His logo has the fedora in it. He's Joe, the finance guy. Joe, the letter O, has a hat on top of it, like his bald head, right? And that's his thing. You know what I mean? Like everybody, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be clothing or, it could be whatever you want, but that can be your thing. Like Corey Warfield, you're connected with Corey, right?
Yep.
One of his things, you almost always see him. He's on a couch. He's always got that laid back. You know what I mean? When you see him right away, you know who he is because that's his thing. So everybody can do something.
Yep.
When you're talking about digital marketing, you need to be seen. So one thing, if you're looking just for down and dirty advice, you gotta top of mind. If you're not top of mind, you're probably not gonna be very effective in any of these spaces. And I don't care if it's Clubhouse or Facebook or Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, any of them. If you know your market, and you should take some time to do some research here for digital marketing, where are your prospects living?
Yep.
Right? So do some demographics, figure that out, and then invest as appropriate the time for those. So like if you go, okay, well, I know that I'm doing business like my wife who's sharing my office, right? We share an office, which is why I have this backdrop behind me so you can't see the shelving of her Scentsy stuff, which is, it's her business. She focuses business to consumer. And we know that most of her prospects live on Facebook. It's not even close, right? So she spends most of her social media time, her digital marketing efforts are built towards the B2C space in Facebook, right? Group, all of it. For me, almost 0.0, not quite, but almost 0.0 of my business comes from Facebook. Right? I don't design anything for Facebook because it's not the appropriate space for me. And how do I know that? Because I did my research. So you got to know who your target is. You got to know where they are. And then you get to know like what time of day they're there. all those things. And then you build your pieces, your digital assets, which could
Yep.
be just a regular post, a blog, photographs, GIFs, videos, all those things. Do these podcasts, all that stuff. Those
Yep.
are all digital assets. And then you present them in the appropriate times and places and the appropriate channels. And that's
Yep.
digital marketing 101, right? And then don't forget, there's also the phone, which a lot of people don't consider that digital, but it is. It's a digital thing. It's a cell phone now, which includes what? Texting. Like people are asking me about SMS marketing. And SMS marketing, if your company is not doing it, that's digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
How many years have you seen people put their cell phone on a business card and you felt like you can't text them? Well, let me tell you, if your cell phone is on a card, you've invited me to text you.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you do your research, you'll find most people prefer text over email now.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're still just doing email marketing, which was probably the pioneer of digital marketing, if we're being honest.
It was. He used to have about a 80% open rate, and now it's down to about 10 if you're good. But text messaging, text marketing, the open rate is 99.9%.
Boom. Then that's why we do it, right? So again, if you're talking about digital marketing, if you have a specific question, we're happy to address it specifically. But the thing that I love about marketing and the thing I hate about marketing is most people don't actually understand what it is, and they don't understand the scope. It is as wide as it is deep. And so we could spend all day talking about anything. So if you have, if you all have specific questions. Now, I don't know how you're doing for time. We booked an hour. We're actually 6 minutes over already. So we probably need to wrap this up for you pretty quick. I actually have to go in the next 24 minutes no matter what, because I have a hard stop. But is there anything that you would like to cover that we haven't talked about yet? Because I want to make sure this time is valuable for you too, Rob.
No, man, I think that was good, man. The most important thing, because it's like fire freaking hoses, we want people to get the right education. So come into the business empowerment community, connect with me, connect with you connect with the folks in there.
One more time, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to put this up so people can see it. Okay. If you have not connected with Rob yet, or you're not familiar, this is the business website that he's talking about. It's called Scale Through Automation. And the community he's talking about, if you go to the website, what you want to do is you want to go to the support page, and then there's the community tab, and then you're right here. Okay. And then this will get you in. And then there's all kinds of different groups based on what you do. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay? If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. If you're watching this after the fact and it's over and you're like, I can't find the link to Rob or to the website, send me a DM. I will point you in the right direction. Now, also, just full disclosure for everybody watching, if you come to Bowman Digital Media, I have a Marketing Mondays page. Okay. And you can watch any of the episodes that have already been run, and Rob's will be added later today. And I always put the newest one on top, so it'll be right there. And then also, Rob, just so you know, I put the transcription. So I actually transcribe the whole show.
Oh, man.
I put them in a blog format. So if somebody's like, hey, you know what? The video is great, but I actually would like the written format so that I can take notes from that and I don't have to reinvent the wheel or rewrite it all out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can click. Like this is the one from last week that I did with Joe and Gore. But it's just, it'll be you talking and me talking, so they'll be able to
oh man, that's great.
Segment on what is RPA and write it out. They can just copy and
that is wonderful, man.
So it's going to be there for you forever. Also, for any of you that are interested, I always put these also on Anchor and Spotify. So if you want to listen to the audio, you want to re-listen to this in the audio version as you maybe work out or drive home or something and you don't want to watch, you can get an audio format as well. So Rob, thank you so much for joining us today, brother. It's been a blast. Again, for y'all, if you have never seen the Humology, which stands for humanology, not
humor.
Humor.
Laughing like crazy.
Oh, yeah, baby. Come on. You got to check him out. I'm telling you. But you might want to wait till Saturday afternoon when you got some free time, block yourself a little bit and just go from video to video to video. They're off the charts. All right, brother. Any final comments you want to say before we roll on out of here?
I'll say, the best thing you can do before you do anything is Love yourself and love other people. I tell you, it doesn't sound like business, but that's the best business you can do. Love yourself and love other people. And you do this, you'll find out you'll be better, your work will be better, and your environment will be better. Just trust me.
Yeah, I couldn't echo that any more clearly than what you just said. Oh my goodness. If you treat people the way you want to be treated, right? It's almost back to the golden rule.
Back to the golden rule.
Almost too simple, but it is 100%
crazy.
I mean, it's just the foundation of everything, right?
Yeah.
So remember to be polite, remember to keep it professional, and always look for the bright side of stuff too, right? Like try to find the positives. We all have challenges in marketing or in life in general. But if you focus on those things, it's gonna get you. It's gonna give you that stinking thinking, right? All right. Rob, thank you so much, brother, for coming. I'll see y'all next week. If you have any marketing questions, again, Bowman Digital Media /Marketing Mondays. You can rewatch this episode. Have a great day, everybody. BowmanDigitalMedia.com.